Hey guys, jumped into this trade here. Seeing some decent bullish divergence off this most recent low. I was able to get in and really have 1 point of risk on the trade and looking to grab the 5 points here up to test the high. So we're going to see how this works out here. Trying to pass my Lilu account here. And so if this pushes up and we do break the KP here, I'm going to go ahead and tighten that stop to break even so I don't take any risk on the evaluation here. And just to be thorough with you, you can see here on the 1 minute how you also had the same indication right here. And sure enough, we're getting the push. Now, you can scalp the 1 minute and the 512 with these signals for quick 1 point, 1.5 point moves. And they seem to just work all day long. But I found over time that it's much better to have at least close to a 3-to-1 on your first exit on a trade. And that's how I've been trading for quite a while now. So if we can't break the KP, that's giving me an indication that this is weak and we're not going to continue up. But we do have a little bit of a opportunity for price to pull back a bit here and bounce. So I'm not going to just jump out of the trade. Because we could potentially see just a small retracement back to this previous price action right around the 61 and then continue up. There's no indication of divergence here telling me of a small reversal. Same thing on the 1 minute. And you can also see on the 3 minute, which I did not mention, that you did also have the same indication here. So we're going to hold on here and hopefully we get a little bit of a push to test these highs that we made right around 10 this morning, 10 Pacific. And you can see this leg right here. We're right in that 50% area, which is a good thing. Still don't have any signals of reversal off this high. So still have faith that this is going to push. And there we go. Looking pretty good so far. Now, if you were to look at this from a 1 minute perspective, we're pushing to a new high, but we do not have a new high on RVI. You can see here the new high, but then here we're not quite there. So if this starts to turn over, that is going to start to give me a bearish signal off this new high on the 1 minute. But the 512 still looks normal. And let's see what the 3-minute looks like here. 3-minute looks normal as well, no reversal signal. That very well could be all we get because this is a short time frame indication. But even if you dial to a 10-minute, you are starting to get what looks like, let me see if I can pull this in here. You're starting to get that kind of divergence setting up. So we're going to see if this will work out here. Okay, there's my auto break even. And we do have potential reversal signal on the 1-minute, but we don't have it on any of the other time frames, so not going to get too concerned. Still looking good on the 3. And that 1-minute signal, when this next bar closes, could easily turn into not being a signal because the bar is still in process. We've got another 40 seconds here for that to change. Okay, and if we get a little pop here, then 1-minute will still be looking good. In fact, it looks good now. It's now come up, and now we no longer have a divergence. It all looks normal. New bar is formed. And now we're starting to get a little bit of exhaustion in the move on the 512. Now on this leg, we can now look at a fib. And this 50-60% area is lining up nicely with the previous resistance of this leg, so we'd still have some hope the trade's going to work even if it pulls back all the way to this area here. And so once again, I have a sign of exhaustion on my 512 and on my 1-minute off of this high. But because we're in this bull push, that does not mean a complete reversal is going to happen. In fact, just this pullback of maybe a point is all you're going to get from that indication. So far a 3 point move from the low. And on a short time frame perspective, that's really all you can expect. But because we have the 10-minute kind of confirming, it could potentially give me my 5 points. Would then be a 6 point move off the low, which would be kind of a normal reaction because of that higher time frame confirmation. I think it's also important to point out that this 512 tick chart is now really acting more like maybe a 1 minute or a 2 minute chart, because you can see that there's really not a lot of contracts going off. And so each one of these bars is no longer like a second, a seconds chart when you have a lot of action and volatility in the market. So it looks like the fact that we had the 10-minute indication is really helping the case here for this push. And really, if I wanted to be a little bit conservative, I might want to actually take my first contract off right here in front of the CP. But I really don't have a sign of reversal here on this 512. And I really don't have any sign of a reversal on the 1 minute. You see, we made a new push to a new high, and this also is pushing to a new high. Let's see here. Really no signs of topping out here. 3 minutes still looks good. 512 is looking good, even though this is not really the way the 512 tick works when you're in a really volatile market. And 1 minute as well. No real sign of reversal here. So ideally we're going to want to break the CP, and hopefully it will get me up here. We're wanting to see this push within the next 5 seconds, because this is when the 1 minute bar is going to close, and they seem to be having trouble. So now we do have a little bit of a sign of exhaustion on the 512 and the 1 minute. 3 minutes still looks like we're going to actually push to make a new high and then potentially have a reversal. Or not. This could push to make a new high on both price and the indicator. But if we were to push and make a new high and the indicator did not, that might be a good sign to maybe cut this trade short and just wait for the next nice setup. Ideally, we have 46 contracts left on this bar. We'd like to see this push up a bit, and that would then bring this RVI up, and we would not have a reversal pattern. And really, I just need to get one more point in a push here to get out of the trade with 5 points. The 3 minute, yeah, 3 minutes looking good. Everything looks normal. And this is actually a good sign here because you can actually see that just like we had the exhaustion sign off the high, we actually got a continuation pattern off the lows. If you were to really zoom in here, I might be wrong about that, but if you really zoom in, you can see that this came down like a percentage point here, or half a percentage point, but price stayed the same. So arguably that is divergence. And then you also got a similar indication on the 1 minute where you had price stay the same, but then we got this push up here, a continuation pattern. Three minutes still looking good. And what we might see happen here is have a bit of a pullback to 50% where we have the previous resistance, and then a push up to the 27% extension up here just beyond my where I want to exit. So now this will be interesting to see because off these lows, we are still getting that continuation pattern. And if you look at the 1 minute, you've got it as well. I'll draw it on here. Got the push up and then this pushing down. There's still 30 seconds left on this next candle, so this could continue and break those lows, and then you would not have the continuation pattern. But just something to notice while we're in the trade here. Now, typically, especially when the market opens in the morning and throughout those first 2 hours of the regular trading hours, this tick chart is going to be going through 512 contracts every few seconds, and so this really becomes like a sub minute, below the minute, the seconds chart. Ideally, we want to see this push now on this new 1 minute candle. So we'll see what they can do here. And there we go. You can see that signal held. So I'll show you really quickly once again. We pushed up on the 1 minute but came way down on RVI. And then same thing here on the 512 chart. You got that push down. So now we're about a half a point away. I'm going to go ahead and take my first one off at 4.5. And then hopefully we'll get up to this 27. I can get the second contract off. If it would fill me here. And then we're going to go for 5.25. So total, we'll grab 10 ES points out of this trade. One contract at 4.5, the other contract at 5.5, or 5.25. Now with this last contract, I'm not going to take it off at break even. If it starts to truly break down here, I will probably try to at least get myself my commissions here. Not the greatest sign on RVI here. Definitely getting exhaustion here off the highs on the 1 minute and the 512. And the 3 minute is actually still looking pretty good. So that gives me faith that we're going to at least fill the second half of my position. Really, we're only about 3 ticks away. And you can tell that they're trying here. If we can push here in the next minute, well, 1 minute bar just closed. We are getting a decent exhaustion pattern. Same on the 512. And they're really trying here. This is one thing I don't like about these really slow markets, is it takes so long for everything to work out. But I saw this setup and I just had to take it. Sat down to my computer, and so I'm going to take this right at 5 points. If we can just push one more tick. See what the 3 minutes saying here. Yeah, 3 minute does not look like it's exhausted. And there's still 3 minutes left on this bar, so gonna see here if we can grab this. And what I will do, because I don't like the exhaustion we're having and we're so close to my exit, I might just go ahead and take this off if we break below 0950. Three minutes still looking decent. 10 minutes still looking decent. 1 minute is actually looking good now. The exhaustion pattern is kind of, there we go. It's really starting to turn into what you would expect to see on the move here. So I'm fairly confident that we could at least get this one more tick. But this might just be it right here. Got 30 seconds for this 1 minute to close. And we're about, oh, you see all that? Just jumped 80 contracts in a few seconds, in a second there. Things are really starting to pick up, at least compared to the push. All right, here we go. There we go. Just needs to fill me. Bam.